There are no words to describe Army against Navy. The Star Game is about more than bragging rights, about more than conference standings. It's about tradition and legacy. The Mids and Cadets descend on Baltimore, and it's next. Welcome back to M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland for the second annual Smart Link Day of Rivals, the 88th meeting between Navy and Army. Take a look at Navy head coach Richie Meade in his 16th season at Annapolis, 136 wins, the 04 National Coach of the Year. This is his 28th Army-Navy game. He was also an assistant coach up at West Point. 14 wins over Army for him at the Naval Academy. And for the Cadets, Joe Alberici in his 5th season at West Point, a record of 34-37. A longtime Duke assistant coach, the 2008 Patriot League Coach of the Year. 1 win over Navy in his career on the Hudson. Army in gray, Navy in gold. It might be tough for a little while to tell who's who, but I'm sure we'll get it straightened out as the not a whole lot of contrast. And here comes the flyover here in downtown Baltimore. That was a pretty special way to start the day here in Baltimore, Maryland. The Navy helping us out there with the Top Gun Flyers. And to take a look at the first 87 meetings, Jack, 57-27-3 in favor of the Naval Academy. Navy has certainly dominated this of late.
I contributed a few of those wins to the Naval Academy, Eamon, I'm sorry to say, but it'll be a ball game today.
It is underway, the opening face-off. Logan West for Navy in gold, pulls it out, and the midshipmen come up with it.
The face-off is a big part of the game today. Neither team has been tremendously successful, and I think it's going to be a big difference in who wins a one-goal game today.
Ryan Striffler, number 27, with the ground ball. This is Nick Davis, number 6. Sophomore out of Delaney. Mark, 6-on-6. Who's Navy going to look to start the offense?
They have some outstanding midfielders. Patrick Moran, Joe Lennon. Nick Davis is incredibly quick. Look for him to dodge quickly and get it down the right-hand side for a cutter. Here he has the ball right now, gets a step, goes behind with the pass. This is Connors. He had 5 points in the win a year ago over Army. Errant pass. So the Cadets force a turnover.
Well, I wouldn't say the Cadets forced that turnover. That was just a bad stick-handling mistake on the part of Navy right there. But Andy Warner threw it away. Turnovers are always a big part of the game, and Navy's gotten off to a bad start there.
Welcome to M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland for the second annual Smart Link Day of Rivals. This is Army with the ball going up against Navy, the 88th lacrosse meeting between Army and Navy. Eamon McEnany, along with the former Army head coach, the Hall of Famer Jack Emmer, and the former Johns Hopkins midfielder Mark Dixon, just underway here, no score. Army has come up with a defensive stop and now goes to work on the offensive end.
This little fella handling the ball right here, Devin Lynch, probably is the quickest of the Army midfielders. Look for him to run by some middies today.
Here's the senior Andrew Maizano. Saw the slide coming, gives it up, gets it to Jeremy Boltus behind the net. He's guarded by Hirsch, Michael Hirsch, the junior. Hirsch all over him, puts it on the ground. Good defense by Hirsch. Wickham way out of the net for Navy. Now let's take a look at our Warrior Lacrosse impact players in this one. Navy on the clear now. This is Gallagher, number 26, with the ball.
Both teams 1 possession apiece. one turnover apiece. They really want to tighten this up, and Coach Emmer being a part of this series for such a long time, what are the emotions like for these two ball clubs? Nerves, pride, or a little bit of mixture of everything?
I think there's a lot of nerves that go on early in the game, and as we saw, both teams turned it over early here. I think they'll settle down, particularly when the first goal is scored, and play good lacrosse after that.
Both teams are used to playing close games. Navy at 5-6, Army 5-5. Both teams are guaranteed a trip to the Patriot League postseason tournament, and there's another turnover as we take a look at our Warrior Lacrosse impact players in this one.
Yes, for the military academy, a guy that's going to play a big role today is Garrett Thule, a freshman who's doing the job. He's going to match up against the second best defenseman for the Naval Academy. And O'Sullivan and Pileski are very key players. Patrick Moran, Joe Lennon, Will Fields is going to be a sleeper on the faceoff today, but Patrick's the key man for the Naval Academy.
Here's the big man out of Texas in the open field, Pileski. He drops it off to Brandon Butler. Butler gets it in the box. So Army with its second possession. The Black Knights come in with 2 straight overtime victories after some heartbreaking losses.
Army trying to generate some offense from up top here right now. We haven't seen the ball go behind early so far, and I think this may be a little bit of their plan on the day.
Connor Hayes feeds the crease, can't make the connection. Tyler Seymour was open, but he couldn't hold on. Big hit there in the middle of the field. Seymour comes up with the ground ball, gets it back in the box. This one will be physical. Both coaches promise that, Mark.
And both of these teams have been deficient in the ground ball category. You can point to their not having success at the face-offs, but those are ground ball battles that can win or lose this game. Hustle plays and tenacious rides.
Now you got to give Tyler Seymour a little bit of a credit there. He missed the feed inside, should have converted that, but he didn't hang his head, and he got the ball back.
Here's Connor Hayes, number 26, out of Delaware. He's being guarded by Striffler.
This is Army's second midfield group here.
Pick play, Hirsch fell down. They didn't take advantage. They get it in the stick of Boltus. Boltus now going against the short stick of Striffler.
Boltus is a feeder first, and here he gets to the goal. How about that, Eamon?
Took advantage of the matchup, got above goal line extended, Mark.
Jeremy Boltus, to Coach Emmer's point, is a feeder first, a scorer second. He recognizes the short stick matchup, and this is like a kid in a candy store because he's used to a pole slapping on his bottom hand to disrupt his feeding. The pole isn't there, the pressure isn't there. He's able to get above goal line extended and stick the game's first score.
And the reason he was able to do that, Mark, is because he got the short stick playing him because of the switch Navy made. He took advantage of the short stick and got to the goal.
119 career points for the junior out of Baldwinsville, New York. Now 20th on the all-time list at West Point. 3 points away from 19th all-time. So another face-off ground ball by Henderson. He is one of the best long stick midfielders in the Patriot League. Loses his man, gets a step, and gets it in the box. Now does someone come and help him out? Absolutely. That's number 3, Butler. So a good ground ball there, Jack. You mentioned it. Ground balls and face-offs. Neither team doing a great job at the X this season.
Well, they're splitting the face-offs now, and that's not unpredictable. Both of them are under 50% in the face-off, so if one team wins more than 50%, it's going to have an impact on the outcome of this game today.
Here's Maizano with the ball.
I think Army's first midfield, Eamon, is going to have to score more than they had this season. Maizano has been a regular and a leader on this midfield, but he only has 1 goal.
Feed up top. Here is Maizano with a shot. Wickham got a piece or hit a pipe. Nate Army comes up with the ground ball again. Second time they've been able to come up with a ground ball off a shot. Here's Seymour.
You can see Army really spreading out the Navy defense. They like their matchups, but in case they can't beat, they want to make the slides as far as possible for Navy. Navy's off-ball defense this year has been very suspect. They're good on ball, but off-ball they have trouble.
Devin Lynch looking to feed inside, draws the big Long stick of Matt Vernum, one of Navy's better defenders, so he gives it up. This is McCallion.
Good job by Devin that time. He was taking a beating on that lower hand and hung on.
Jordan Seaval. McCallion, so now Baltus again behind with Lawson on him.
Here comes the big little again. Army looking to get a switch.
Cross cage feed, can't put it home. Pickup by Tommy Mansfield out of the Chaminade School on Long Island.
There we saw Baltus's feeder mentality. I thought he could have turned the corner and got a shot, but he saw his backside cutter flare. Pass was a little tough to handle. Navy, though, clearing the ball. That's a big clear for Navy. They were unsuccessful in their first couple of attempts. This is a big clear, getting from defense to offense for the midshipmen.
And McAuliffe gets it in the box, so Navy with its 4th possession. They've had 3 already, 3 turnovers, 0 shots, so they need to start clicking on the offensive end. Under 8 to play in the first quarter. The 88th meeting between Navy and Army. The Smart Link Day of Rivals from Baltimore, Maryland. Army with an early 1-0 lead.
It's no surprise to see Patrick Moran and Joe Lennon running together on the midfield. Those are the veteran guys. I know Richie Meade loves the veteran guys on game day, Army, Navy, and they'll have an impact.
Capron from behind. Now here's Lennon. Lennon draws Henderson. So they're going to short stick Moran. Moran usually draws the pole. Now Capron. He had a big day a week ago with 3 in the loss against Maryland.
Loves to invert, has great speed, and he likes to shoot right when he gets a step above goal line extended.
He gives it up this time. Warner looking to feed.
Little help by Henderson that time. Didn't hurt.
This is Andy Warner. He gives it up to O'Leary. Now Moran moves it over. Lennon gets a shot blocked. Ground ball squirts out near midfield. Who's going to win the race? It's Henderson in full stride. Good job by Lennon, but Henderson still has it. He shoots off the mark.
Good choice on Lennon to shoot that time. They didn't slide to him. They gave him the shot.
Still no shots on cage, though. Nothing's gotten to Pileski, and we get a great look at number 21, Tim Henderson. He may be better between the lines, picking up ground balls in transition than he is as a cover player. He is a talented long stick midfielder.
Just under 2 caused turnovers a game, and in this doubleheader, we are seeing 4 of the best long stick midfielders in the country, although it looks like Whipple for Navy might not be able to play. He's been bothered by a hamstring injury, but you throw the young Henderson out there with Farrell and
Zach Schroeder. Schroeder's a good player, very good player. In transition for Navy with the long pole.
And then Chris Leitner, the freshman for Johns Hopkins, 4 of the best. Sean O'Sullivan, stopped by Wickham. The lob outlet converted.
Well, Sean O'Sullivan's only played in 5 games, and he already has 9 goals. I really think he's a key player today for the military academy.
Great play by Henderson to momentarily force the takeaway, but Navy and Brosnan comes up with the ground ball. Unsettled opportunity for the mids. They pull it out. O'Leary wants to get everyone on the same page.
So far, Army has to be pleased with their team defense. They're getting their sticks on some balls, putting some pressure on the Naval Academy. We've seen some turnovers. Pileski has yet to make a save, hasn't he, Mark?
I think Navy right now is trying to find their rhythm. If I'm looking at this game from a 50-50 standpoint, Army has taken the intensity so far to the midshipmen.
Looks that way.
So this is the second midfield line for Navy of Doyle, Duratzos, and Cook. Doyle gives it up. This is Logan West. Navy has not been sharp on the offensive end yet in this one. Now Duratzos falls down. Another takeaway by Army. Duratzos, it was Tom Dalton coming up with it.
Duratzos is a very veteran player. You'd expect him to handle that, and a throwaway on the part of the Army defenseman that time.
And they put it on the rug again. Good ride there by Dalton to slow down the Navy attack.
That was Sam Harrison that threw that clearing pass away.
Probably some tired defenders out there right now for Army. Let's see if Navy can take advantage.
Well, with that turnover, they were able to keep their personnel, Army defensively, but Navy elects to get a fresh midfield unit on. so Army will be able to substitute too.
Here is Davis with it. Warner on the wing. Navy played more than just over 8 minutes of lacrosse before its first shot. Now Moran, he's got a cannon, looks to get his hands free, and Pileski got a piece to redirect that one. Men's college lacrosse action on ESPNU continues tonight. First at 6:30 Eastern, number 4 Maryland takes on number 16 Johns Hopkins in the second game of the Smart Link Day of Rivals. Then at 8:30 Eastern, number 5 Duke faces number 1 Virginia. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com.
Maryland seniors trying to get their first ever victory over Hopkins, and of course, Duke has ruled Virginia the last couple of years. The Cavaliers, number 1 in the nation. The Blue Devils riding a 7-game win streak in tonight's contest.
Davis gets a shot off the mark.
I notice here Army defensively is reluctant to slide to Navy's middies. That surprises me a little bit. They're letting Navy's middies run down the side without any help. Here we go.
Moran feeds inside, knocked down. Lennon tries to shuffle it over. Moran comes up with it. Pileski way out of the net. Warner looking to take advantage. Henderson all over him, but now here comes Warner. Nobody on him. He feeds up top. Room, space, off the mark, flag down. Navy man up right now.
This is exactly what the Naval Academy needs. They're not making good decisions. They're not executing. That's their first really free and clear shot they've had on cage. Looks like it's going to be a slash call against Army, and Coach Emmer, you know, probably it looks like an interference call, excuse me. So a call inside against Army. Joe Alvarisi asking for an explanation, but oftentimes, Coach, when you're struggling on offense, the extra man is just what the doctor may have ordered.
Well, they're still looking for their first goal, so they'll take it any way they can get it. Lately, Navy is much improved on their extra man offense. They really struggled early in the season.
Navy just under 38% on its EMO opportunity, 17 out of 45 coming into this one. Warner and Moran do most of the damage on the extra man. There's a shot by Capron, and he beats Pileski.
So the extra man gives Navy the opportunity to score their first goal. We're at 1-1.
Nothing fancy. Operating out of a 2-1-3. And it's just Capron coming from behind the cage, front swinging, and he just steps and improves his angle, and hot ball movement, crisp passing gets the Navy offense humming, the Army defense rotating, and Capron picking up where he left off a week ago, a hat trick against Maryland. He starts off with a nice goal against Army.
4 points in that one. We are even at 1, just over 2.5 to play in the opening quarter. There's a pickup on the ground ball by Logan West off the faceoff, so Navy goes to work. Here's O'Leary. Striffler will dump it off, and they make personnel changes here. This is Jay Mann in the open field. Now he's going to retreat.
Coach Meade, in talking to him during the week, he felt like he really wanted to push the ball in the unsettled situation, that he was going to be more apt to score there than he would be in the 6-on-6 defense out of respect for Army's team defense.
Now Davis going down the alley, gets his hands free, goes top shelf to beat Pileski. After a slow start, Navy's on a roll offensively.
Like I said, I'm very surprised Army is not giving an early slide to those middies coming down the side. Here you take a look at it. No slide by the Military Academy. Ball right in the corner.
Nick Davis, look at that quick first step. Separation, no slide. That's a tape job. You heard the flick of the net, Coach, all the way up here in the broadcast booth. Beautiful shot by Nick Davis, and it seems like the Naval Academy, that extra man goal has really settled them down, and they're picking their matchups, and that's great execution by the sophomore out of Delaney.
Davis with an unassisted goal he also scored a week ago, as Richie Meade looks on. Sipperly in there for Army on the faceoff. It's a scrum. And Sipperly comes up with it, gets it in the box, and moves it over.
Boy, that's a scrap for the faceoff if there ever was one. all 6 guys beating on each other, trying to pick up that little white ball.
I think that's going to be the theme for the day between these two teams on the ground balls and the face-offs.
And it'll be interesting to see the wing play of Navy. Weppel, such an essential component. You mentioned Schroeder, but really Weppel missing his 2nd consecutive game. We're trying to get him healthy for the Patriot League tournament.
I think Weppel's probably a better defender, where Schroeder is a tremendous field player. So they'll miss him in their team defense, Weppel that is.
There's Boltus again, matched up by a short stick.
They got the matchup they want.
Back above goal line extended. The feed cross cage. They pull the shot back. Beats the double. Good check there to force the high shot.
Excellent reactions by Wickham to beat him to the back line.
You mentioned him be able to make saves, his athleticism out of the cage on display there. The hustle in the sport of lacrosse. Ball goes out of bounds on his shot. Closest to it when and where it goes out, gets possession. R.J. Wickham wins the battle for the Naval Academy.
Burnham sends it over to Hirsch. Hirsch into the middle of the field, nobody there. Pileski, quick reaction, picks it up. So another turnover by Navy.
Now Navy has been a very efficient clearing team all year long. I did feel they had an edge in the clear game. There's been times Army has not made good decisions like Sam Harrison made earlier in trying to make a long clearing pass. And I thought that was a key part of the game today, that Army needed to clear the ball efficiently. But there we had Navy with the turnover.
Marzano, feet inside. Good collapsing defense, puts it on the floor. And that'll do it for the first quarter. The lacrosse team wants to make it back to Baltimore for Memorial Day weekend in the Final Four. Here as we get ready for the second quarter, it's Navy 2, Army 1. Navy was off the mark with its first 4 shots of the game and then buried their next 2 to take the lead. Face-offs have been a struggle for both teams. Clean win there, fast break opportunity, the drop-off. Here's the cross-cage pass. Connors moves in. Pileski with the save.
Terrific save by Pileski. That's his best save of the day. There haven't been many shots on goal. 2 goals allowed, 2 saves. Maybe that gets him into the game, Mark.
His nickname is Big Bird. He certainly looked big on that shot. Made himself bigger than his 6'5" frame. Took away all angles and made a beautiful stop.
Kept his position on the pipe and gave that shooter nothing to look at.
The first goalie out of the state of Texas to start a Division I lacrosse game. Plano, Texas is his hometown. This is Devin Lynch. Now Marzano. Marzano gets a step. Now the slide. He moves it quickly. Open man if they see him. Boltus drives.
Good team defense by the Naval Academy. Conversely to what Army's doing, they are very quick to slide the Naval Academy, forcing Army to move the ball immediately.
Gallagher matched up on Boltus once again. He finds himself being covered. By a short stick. Gets the inside roll. Feet inside. Good defense again by Navy, collapsing on that. You have no time to get rid of it, Jack, inside against Navy.
And they made a good shot. I think we might have gotten a save on that one. It happened so quickly, it was hard to see. But Army's loving that matchup on Boltus against the short stick.
Feed inside to Seymour. Wickham cannot stop that. Great 2-man game for Army, and we're all even at 2.
That was an excellent play. If I caught it right, it might have been Sean O'Sullivan on a little flip inside. Let's see that one again on replay if we can.
Sean O'Sullivan, that's a nice dodge inside by Rob McCallion. And McCallion, ball watching by Navy. You could see the slide come. No one accounts for the attackman front swinging. That's Seymour. Great recognition, coach. When you see the back of the helmet and the slide goes, you cut where he came from. Great execution.
And McCallion is an excellent feeder from the midfield. He has maybe 4 or 5 goals, but he's got many more assists this season. And he found Seymour inside, and Tyler Seymour, like he did against Bucknell in overtime last week, finished it off.
10 assists for McCallion out of the Philadelphia area, Episcopal Academy. Also a very good high school basketball player. And there's a big hit on the sideline that gets the Army bench fired up on the loose ball.
You know it's going to be physical, it's emotional, and it's intense. Watch this team, Army-Navy. Look, that's a forearm shiver. Tim Ferguson just pastes the Naval Academy midfielder. That was Logan West, and just speaks to the intensity and the physical nature of Army-Navy.
The Henderson boys are pretty physical. Number 21 and number 5, Billy Henderson, will lay it on you.
That's a moving pick call, so they give it right back.
You know, in these physical games, you'd like the officials to let them play a little bit of a moving pick, a little interference. Maybe you look by those things, let them be physical, don't over-officiate.
This is the second annual Smart Link Day of Rivals from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. It's the 88th meeting between Army and Navy in college lacrosse. Eamon McEnany, along with the Hall of Fame coach Jack Emmer and the former Johns Hopkins midfielder Mark Dixon. Army with the ball in the gray, Navy in the gold. All leaving at 2 with just under 12 and a half to play in the first half.
Army with the timeout.
Welcome back. We're all even at 2 with just under 12 and a half to play left in the second quarter. Now let's take a look at our Sector Spiders player portfolio, and we're going to take a closer look at a day in the life of Army senior Andrew Maizano. He's a captain. He's a midfielder. He's got, oh, by the way, a 4.06 GPA. But let's take a look at that day. 6:15 wake up. Jack, you spent a lot of years at West Point. You take us through what exactly he's doing here.
Well, this is so impressive to me how busy these guys are during the day. A combatives class which teaches them the physical aspects of being in the Army. He's an engineering major. He has to go to his engineering seminar. He's got a couple of other classes on the odd day, and then he gets to practice about 2:50, homework till 11:30 at night, and lights are out. But it's a full day, and I'll tell you one thing, Eamon, they don't miss classes at the United States Military Academy.
And they don't miss meals. He does make time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We just didn't have enough space to actually put everything down there, but quite a young man, a nominee for the Lowe's Senior Class Award in his hometown of Buffalo. He volunteers at a soup kitchen, but a 4.06 in systems engineering, a remarkable student athlete. So now this is Brian LaRusso with the ball. One of 4 LaRusso brothers to play lacrosse at West Point. His brother Kevin now an assistant coach with Joe Alvarisi. Here's Thole, the very talented freshman. He gets it back up top.
It's a second pick set by Thule. To your point, Coach Emmer, looked like he was moving a little bit there. The officials looked the other way. He is a big body to be running into if you don't know he's there.
Here he comes, lowering the shoulder. Skip pass, shot upstairs. Tyler Oates up the ladder to give Army the lead.
That was impressive. Garrett Thule put his shoulder into the Navy defenseman. You take a look at the replay here. He's leaning in and he sees the slide, and Tyler Oates up in the corner with a ripper.
Garrett Thule channeling Tommy Marichek, backing into his defender, a little kayak dodge, little kayak cradle, sees the slide, beautiful feed, and then Oates takes Wickham on the elevator, delivers top shelf, and Army has their lead back.
Oates, the senior out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. He scored the game winner against Colgate. Ball squirts out. Who's going to come up with it? It's going Navy's way.
Army's got 3 very outstanding and hard shooters from the outside. O'Sullivan being one of them, Thule being the other, and Tyler Oates being the third. If we see Navy on the extra man, you'll see those 3 guys in the perimeter. They can shoot it. Now Army's come back with 2 straight goals, so we got a little seesaw game here.
5 different goal scorers today. Everybody getting involved. Everybody wants to play in the Army-Navy game, and everyone wants to make a mark. Here's Capron. He's got 1 already. He's being guarded by a short stick, and he gives it up to Warner. Warner draws Henderson. Pick play. Henderson gets through. Step down opportunity. Good defense. Pass up top. This is Lennon. Henderson gets a whack in.
I'm surprised that playing Army is playing Capron with a short stick after his 3-goal effort of a week ago. I think they're trying this on for size to see if he was the real deal 1 week ago.
Rolls back to his right. Now Warner. Now Moran. He's had a quiet first half. Feeds inside. Open. Good collapse defense. Takes away that opportunity. And now Connors gets up limping.
Boy, I'll tell you, when you feed it inside against these two teams, you're getting whacked. It is really tough to shoot it from the inside, isn't it? You're going to take a check in there, I'll tell you.
Jack, if you were coaching, would you tell your guys to start pulling the trigger instead of feeding inside, or do you keep feeding inside?
Well, I think you got to make another pass. I think you got to make another perimeter pass to extend the defense and then get it inside. Doesn't look like you can get it inside too quickly.
Henderson left alone, unsettled opportunity. Good recovery defense by Navy. McAuliffe sprinting out of the box. Got back and forced that turnover, picked up by Brosnan. Brosnan moves it along to Hirsch. Extra pass. This is McAuliffe sprinting into the box.
It's Timmy Henderson's first mistake of the day. He forced that pass on the substitution situation, but he's been the most outstanding player on the field up to this point.
Brendan Connors, we saw him limping off of the field. Navy suffered a huge blow early in the season. Tim Paul, arguably their best attackman, went down with a torn ACL. Navy making adjustments again on attack with Connors being nicked up early in this contest.
Little help right there from Billy Henderson, helping out his teammate as he went to the goal. Good team defense.
Connors 23 points on the season, so that would be a significant loss for Navy. 5 points in this game a year ago. Warner with the fake, back to his left, shoots off the mark.
He had a better shot with his right hand that time, and he rolled back to his left.
Let's take a look at what happened to Connors on that last possession. We mentioned a feed inside.
That's tough going in there, and not a whole lot of real estate to work with. Great collapse by the Army defense. Didn't see any checks, or might have been a twist of the ankle, or maybe he hit his knee on the turf, but he came off limping. He's up and walking around the Navy bench. That's a good sign.
Ryan O'Leary with the inside step, and he buries it. Right from the restart, number 40 had one thing in his mind, and that was get to the cage.
No, I thought that Army would short stick O'Leary, and obviously they knew what they were doing. They had the long stick on him, Larry LaRusso. Larry didn't get his hands on him and let him inside roll.
Great speed by O'Leary. He races and makes the defender think he's running upfield. The defender overruns him. O'Leary stops on a dime, almost a pseudo split face dodge, coming inside of the defense, and did a great job tiptoeing the crease.
Similar to the move another Long Island product Billy Bitter's been doing all year long, but O'Leary out of St. Anthony's on Long Island talked to his high school coach this week, Keith Reiserick, and he said when he was with us, he could run by anybody. That's exactly what he did there. So on this whistle, we'll come up with Army possession.
There's another interference call that affects the possession. Well, actually, the official just changed his mind. Gave the ball back to the Naval Academy.
Richie Meade looking for win number 15 all-time over Army. You know Coach Meade pretty well, a product of your hometown, Mineola, New York, and Joe Alvarisi, another guy you know well who worked under you at West Point.
I'm proud to say they both worked under me. I talked Richie out of the private sector. He was a salesman.
And he still talks to you?
And got him back into coaching. He did a great job for us his 4 years as an assistant, and has done so at the Naval Academy.
Naval Academy, United States Military Academy coach. Different mindset when you're coaching at service academies versus a Hopkins or a Maryland or a Virginia. Can you speak to that?
Well, I think you're working with kids that are so motivated, so excited to play hard every day, getting the most out of every day and the most out of themselves. Sometimes you find kids that are not as fast or shoot it as well as some other kids, but they're getting every ounce of their ability out of themselves. So it's a tremendous coaching situation. Very proud to have been associated with the academy.
Good check there. Jack also coached at Cortland State and Washington and Lee. 326 career victories.
Thanks for that plug, Aiden. Didn't talk about all those Navy losses.
I haven't done that. Feed inside again. Capra, now he loses it.
Can't get it inside.
Good team defense once again. Gephardt, the captain, with the ground ball.
Terrific interior defense, not only to take the ball away, but to have the discipline not to whack a guy right on top of the head. You have to have tremendous stick control in those tight quarters as defense, and Army's doing that right now.
So just like with Navy at the end of the first quarter, Army's starting to find a rhythm with its shots.
I think Army had to feel good about themselves in the clearing game there. They just cleared it under difficult circumstances. Both these teams give such a great effort in the riding game.
Opportunity in the substitution game, the extra pass, lefty shot. Bounces over R.J. Wickham. We're talking about Coach Emmer's career and his 3 stops from '84 to 2005. He called West Point home. 23 times he coached against Navy, 186 and 131 career at West Point. As I mentioned, 326 career victories.
Best player you ever coached at Army, Coach Emmer. Put you on the spot.
Oh, there were some great ones, but the most recent, Johnny Walker, who's now an assistant at Virginia. What a great player, both as a feeder and as a shooter and as an athlete.
McCallion moving in. His brother Austin Walker wrapped up a career at Johns Hopkins last year. Flagged down about a mile away from the play.
This is the first time we're going to see Army on the extra man. And they've got some guys, like I said, that can rip it. O'Sullivan, Thule, Oates. This is a pretty good part of their game. They're averaging over 40%, I think, on their extra man, so they're capable.
13 of 32 in their first 10 games of the season.
Army looks like they're starting off in a circle, crashing the crease, a lot of movement in front of R.J. Wickham.
Here is O'Sullivan, now Boltus up top. Seymour.
Quick change of sets on Army's spot. This is O'Sullivan.
Now Boltus. Fool. Penalty released. Shot upstairs again. Pick a corner.
How about that? That was well placed. Jeremy Boltus, we keep talking about his feeding ability. He stuck 2 goals in the net today, and that one was right in the corner. Army shooting the ball very well right now.
Smart shot, quick release, used the defender as a screen. Really just steps inside, and there you see the Navy defender. That's Marty Gallagher. Look at Boltus use Gallagher as a screen. I don't think Wickham saw that come out of the cross of Jeremy Boltus, so a smart shot, beautiful placement, and Wickham was only left to shake his head.
No, Army changed sets 3 times that time. Didn't get the shot they wanted. The ball landed in Boltus' stick, and he made a terrific shot. And I think you're right about the screen.
Here he is again. Boltus moving in, and Wickham got just enough of that one. A rare wide-open opportunity for Boltus, but he couldn't bury it.
It's one of those unsettled opportunities you really need to convert. He just made a very difficult shot. Look at this one. He's right in Wickham's face and misses the goal.
Welcome back to Baltimore. Army, with some nice shooting, has taken a 4-3 lead over Navy. Today's Warrior Pro Sessions is presented by Warrior Lacrosse. Let's find out more about shooting with our own Quint Kesnick and Team USA midfielder Matt Strebel.
It's efficiency of motion that will lead to greater velocity, and repetition that will improve your accuracy. We're talking shooting. Matt Strebel, Team USA. And good shooting starts with a good posture.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a 3-step process. It starts with our feet. We have a crow hop. Simple move. It's like a baseball move. Right foot comes behind the left. Get extension. Second part, our hips. We got to turn our upper body. We want our chest facing towards the end line. Finally, we've got our hands. Front elbows up. Elbows away from the body. We're ready to go.
Let's see it full speed. Heels to the sideline. The weight's going to start on that back foot. You see the hop step. You're finishing with the weight on the front foot. Hip and shoulder turn. Reach back and uncoil your entire body. And then finally the hands. Get the butt end up. That's pointing at the target. Push-pull motion. Snap your wrists. That's where the velocity comes from. A lot of practice and repetition will improve your shooting velocity and accuracy.
Now, you all just saw Matty Strebel give that demonstration, and he's a great shooter in his own right. Tyler Oates mimicked that on the extra man when he stuck that ball in, or it was an all-even situation.
Oates and then Boltis, so Army really starting to pick it up with their shots. This is Boltis with the ball, being guarded by a shorty, feeding inside. Oh my, Thule going over his shoulder.
I tell you, that was impressive by Thule, because Navy has continually collapsed on that crease. Look at that replay. They are all over Thule, and he still gets the ball in. Wickham doesn't get a good look at it.
Speaking of shooting, but you can't teach this, Coach. This is instinct, this is awareness, and this is just power. Two guys draped on his back, no angle, and puts it behind his back. R.J. Wickham, he knew he was on the right pole, puts it low and away, but behind his back. That's slick, that's stylish. That's a great shot by Garrett Thule.
And how about the feed by Boltis? I mean, he saw a little stick open, and Thule handled it. Navy on the face-off.
Clean win. Shot opportunity. Skips right over the crossbar. 3 points already for Boltis, one away from 19th all-time at West Point.
Logan West has been pretty effective on the face-off. Probably wishes he could shoot it a little better, because he got a very good look that time. Let's take a look now if Army's going to stick with that no slide from the crease defense.
Here's Davis. He retreats, sends it up top to Lennon. Now Moran. He's been quiet.
Quick slide that time. They've changed up a little bit.
Quick pass. O'Leary looking to get his hands free. Gets rid of it. But Lennon can't catch the pass. Another turnover for Navy. Conversion made on the pass. Henderson in the open field. Henderson's thinking about shooting. Tough pass. They connect. Thule goes for the shot instead of feeding Seymour, but Seymour there for the backup.
Probably a good choice by Thule. Seymour had faded behind the goal, but he didn't get his hands free. They had a pretty good chop on his hands that time.
Got to be disappointed if you're Navy. Haven't had the ball for a couple of minutes. Army scored 2 straight goals. You turn it over without even making really the Army defense work in terms of getting a nice shot on cage. You got to give a lot of credit to Army, though, right now. They're taking care of the ball. They're being patient. They've got the momentum and the confidence firmly on their side at this point.
Now, I'm sure Navy's upset with their lack of possession time. They've had several possessions, haven't they, where they have not gotten a shot to the goal.
So this is Hirsch now on Boltis. Now they send it up top, skipped by Maizano, so a clean pickup by Navy. 3-on-2, they get rid of it. Tough pass. Right there, Jack, the opportunity of a clean pass would have given him a much better look. ESPNU's coverage of college lacrosse continues Sunday with Big East action as #2 Syracuse takes on Rutgers. Old Spice Lacrosse on ESPNU and ESPNU HD Sunday at 6 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Shot blocked. They got a man in the middle of the field. They get it to him. 4-on-3 fast break. Here comes Butler. Butler gets knocked down by Hirsch. Heads up defense by Hirsch.
Butler made a poor decision, threw the ball underneath, really should have gone to his point man. Both Army and Navy have had great opportunities. Flag down.
So a free possession for Navy with 2 minutes left in the first half, down by 2. Here's a crank, another shot blocked by Henderson, but now the Navy extra man unit will take the field.
Great play by Hirsch on the fast break attempt by Army. Gets the ball to R.J. Wickham, and the athleticism of Wickham outside of the cage. He's going to sell the referee on throwing the flag. He got hit in the helmet a little bit. He's going to turn to the official and give the signal to throw the flag. So watch Wickham pick up this ground ball. Gets hit. Look at him. Look at the official. Throw it. Throw it. He gets it. Nice sell job by R.J. Wickham, and that creates the extra man for Navy.
And Navy did a terrific job with their transition defense there, not giving Army a very good shot. Brandon Butler had a straightaway run at the goal, and they covered the man underneath. Extra man for Navy.
Last time Capron converted on the feed from Warner. Lennon. Skip pass. Now Warner. up top. Sullivan back to Warner. Sullivan steps in. Lennon. Now Sullivan. Another shot blocked. Koleski picks it up.
Army shut off Moran on that extra man opportunity. Moran just went to the crease. That was a 5-on-4 EMO, and the Army did a great job to knock down the shot attempt.
Koleski to LaRusso. They'll kill some clock. They got to get it in the box. It's Chuck down there.
Excellent pickup there, Mark, on the shutoff on Army's man-down defense.
Wickham all the way out by midfield. Now Wickham. He scored against Georgetown, but it was taken away. Now he gets it into the box. Warner thought about it. And they lose it. Capron can't hold on the dodge.
Those are the situations that Navy would prefer to execute, those little upset situations. I think Richie Meade has been right. When Army's been in their 6-on-6 defense, Navy hasn't gotten much offense. They need to convert those upset situations to goals.
Under 30 seconds left, coming up at halftime. We'll take a look at highlights from earlier today as Loyola knocked off Georgetown. We'll preview Maryland and Johns Hopkins and a look at Alabama spring football. Lowell Galindo and Jamie Monroe with the Warrior Lacrosse halftime report. Now 10 seconds. Davis, no angle there with 8, 7. Gephardt can't hold on to it. So with 5 seconds left, Connor's back on the field, but Richie Meade's going to call a timeout to try to devise a crash to the cage here. I would imagine, Coach, but that's your job. I don't want to play coach here. There's only one of us here who won 326 games.
I'll tell you, with the way Army has collapsed on the crease, I think it'd be very difficult to think they can get it in. I think what they're going to do is try to make Army collapse, throw it through the defense, and let their hardest shooter, which will be Patrick Moran, shoot it from top, or maybe Joe Lennon. But I see the shot coming from about 15 yards up top.
New this year is an ESPNU Lacrosse podcast hosted each week by Quint Kesnick. Guests will include some of the key players, coaches, and insiders of this growing sport. The ESPNU Lacrosse podcast is available at ESPN.com/PodCenter and at iTunes. Subscribe for free. And this week, there was no better way to get prepared for the SmartLink Day of Rivals than to tune into the podcast. Coach Meade, Coach Alberici, Coach Petramala, and Coach Cotto. Everyone was there.
And Eamon McEnany of ESPN.
I did have some free time this week to talk lacrosse with Quint. Very enjoyable to survey the college lacrosse landscape. Let's take a look at the top 10 poll. Maryland, number 4. They look to knock off Johns Hopkins for the first time since 2006 next. Hopkins 5-5. Not do or die, but they would certainly improve their situation. But, Mark, you're pointing at Georgetown there at number 8. You don't think they're going to be in that spot on Monday?
They lost to Loyola today, and Georgetown still looking for that quote-unquote quality win. Huge win last week against Notre Dame. But when it comes to the ranked opponents, the Hoyas still struggling. Losses this year to Maryland, lost to Duke, and a loss to Syracuse.
All right, so with 5 seconds left, it's going to start with number 22, Joe Lennon. Lennon feeds the crease. Nobody there, so time will run out on the first half. A late run, thanks to some hot shooting by Army, gives the Cadets a 5-3 lead. Welcome back to M&T Bank Stadium for the SmartLink Day of Rivals. The first 30 minutes of the 88th meeting between Army and Navy are in the books. Army, thanks to some hot shooting, has a 5-3 lead as we get set for the third quarter. Eamon McEnany, along with the Hall of Famer Jack Emmer and the former Johns Hopkins midfielder Mark Dixon. And Mark, R.J. Wickham came in with the best save percentage in the country. He's seen a lot of rubber in this one so far.
He really is. Very impressed with Army's shooting. They blitzed him. Not a whole lot of shots, but they've definitely made him count. Look at Bolton scoring the first, recognizing the matchup, turns the corner, puts it past R.J. Wickham. Oates with the bullet to the top corner, and Coach Emmer, then the freshman, with the spectacular behind the back.
Well, Thule and Boltus have been exceptional for Army, I think. What a nice combination. They've played very well. Impressed with Thule as the freshman.
And Jack, as we take a look at the stat sheet, what would you say, pretty even matchup between those two teams? Pretty
sure
similar?
Looks even to me.
16-15 on shots, 17 each on ground balls, 9 apiece turnovers, 1 of 2 and 1 of 1 on man up. The big difference, the shooting percentage in that second quarter. Army really got on track, shooting 44% to take the lead in that quarter. Both of these teams have played 4 overtime games this year. Army dropped the first 2, has won the last 2. So by no means will 60 minutes necessarily determine the outcome in this one. The second half is underway. Ball still free. It will be Army ball.
Halftime of this intense rivalry, great game. Coach Emmer, if you're in the locker room for the respective teams, what are your messages?
Well, I think you need to get the ball in Patrick Moran's hands more and Joe Lennon's hands more. Those guys haven't shot the ball. I'm not sure Patrick Moran's had a shot yet. So he's got to carry more. He's got to step up as Navy's best offensive player.
So the referees change their mind and give the ball to Navy. So Navy will go to work with the first possession of the third quarter.
I think it's important always to come out and score that first goal. So many games are won by who scores first and plays a better third period coming out of the locker room.
Again, number 23, Brendan Connors back on the field as Davis lined up that shot. Once again, it looked like it was deflected before it reached Pileski. Connors left the field momentarily, banged up in the first half, back out there now for Navy. So it starts behind with Andy Warner. Now O'Leary, he had a goal in the first half. Here's Lennon getting a step on Henderson. The slide comes, he goes behind. Feet up top, Moran with time and room. Hit the pipe. As Coach Emmer said, get 13 involved. Pileski bailed out by the pipe.
I'd say that would have been a big swing in Navy's momentum if Patrick Moran had stuck that one in the goal. It's a matter of inches sometimes, and the goalie's best friend is the pipe.
Moran with 22 goals on the season.
This is just great technique. Sets his feet a la Matt Strebel. That little hop, full extension, but oftentimes the pipes are the goalie's best friend.
Army using Brandon Butler, number 3, down low as a midi to help clear it. Navy's offside, so Army has a free shot opportunity. Got to stay in the box.
Flag down. So now Navy will double the ball. Since they're offsides, might as well go and get it. This is McCallion. Striffler there to meet him. Now Bry French, the football player, comes to the party out of Hoover, Alabama. McCallion still has it, now loses it. Navy has to come up with it, though, to force the whistle, and it comes out of the box. So now Army will try to take advantage of the offsides call.
Great hustle by McCallion, but I think he relaxed a little bit. He got past the 2 Navy defenders, held up his step a little bit. Great play by Striffler. The trail check takes the ball away from Army and kills the slow whistle. But now the Cadets, the Black Knights, go up 6-on-5.
McCallion beat that double team. He should have headed to the goal full speed, drawn another slide, and he would have created a shot opportunity. Let's see if Army can convert again with those good outside shooters. Tyler Oates, Thule, and O'Sullivan.
Before it was O'Sullivan to Boltis. Their EMO goal. This is Thule. Now McCallion. And on that first extra man, they used multiple sets. Boltis. Now McCallion. Here's Oates. Now Thule with time and room. Just a little bit too high there.
Thule and Oates can really rip it with that left hand, and they look for those shot opportunities in their extra man offense. Got one there.
Time expires on the penalty, and we're playing 6-on-6 lacrosse. But here's the shot. Wickham stops that. Where's the ball? Comes out. Wickham fell to the seat of his pants to make that save.
Nice play by R.J. Wickham. Oftentimes when goalies make saves, they don't know where the ball is. They stand up, and the ball can roll off of their leg or off of their stick. That time Wickham, you see him, he was like in a recliner. He just laid back. He knew if his body was between the ball and the goal line, that a defender would get a stick in there, or he could then feel it with his leg to make a clean pickup and keep it out of the back of the net.
And I think it's a big save for R.J. Wickham. He needs to get in the game emotionally. He had 5 goals scored on him in the first half and only 3 saves. That's uncharacteristic percentage-wise of R.J. That was his best save of the game.
Last week he made 17 saves against Maryland. He has had some big games this year in the loss to Loyola. 19 saves, 16 against Holy Cross, so he has had a busy sophomore campaign. Kevin Doyle. Now Warner, the two-man game with O'Leary. O'Leary loses his man. Now he gets it back.
This is Navy's second midfield group with Duratzos. Duratzos was a heck of a player as a sophomore, incurred a bad knee injury, and it slowed him up a bit, but he's a veteran player.
17 goals. There's a shot and a score. Number 12, Kevin Doyle, makes it a one-goal ball game.
Kevin Doyle only has 2 goals on the year. That's his third. When we see on replay here, they force him down the side and don't feel like he has a great shooting angle. Rely on Pileski to make that save, but he tucks it in the far corner mark.
Great shot by Doyle, and just adding to the tapestry of a rivalry like Army-Navy. Unsung heroes, guys you don't expect maybe to make the contributions. Doyle fits that mold. Great shot, and we'll see if Navy can build on this momentum.
Clean face-off win momentarily. Great check there by Brosnan. And it's Butler again coming up with the ground ball for Army. Pass up top. Good check there by Striffler to force it offline. Henderson can't keep it in. So now the Navy bench has some enthusiasm going for Coach Meade.
All that work for the face-off, a scrap. Army had it a couple of times. Finally it gets in Brandon Butler's stick, and he throws it away as he gets checked. You work so hard to win those face-offs, you need to keep them in your possession. Little momentum in favor of the Naval Academy now, 5-4.
So now 10 turnovers for Army into the middle of the field. And Striffler, he gets it to Warner. So Striffler will come off. Henderson on Warner.
You know, sometimes the team in this game that's down a little bit at halftime gets that emotional edge coming out of the locker room. So it's big that Army gets a stop here and gets a goal.
This is Connors being guarded by Harrison. Now Davis backs up, looking to get an angle on Gephardt. Davis back to his left. Up top, Moran with time and room. Another shot blocked. Connors with the body shield. But it's Army ball.
That was a set play for Moran. They're obviously working hard to get Patrick Moran in the game. But if we had a chance to look at that replay, we may not right now, but he swings off the crease to the top side to get a shot.
The wind is certainly picking up here. Gusts are about 30 miles per hour. It's a nice sunny day, but you better be in the sunshine. If you're in the shade, it's not exactly a great weather, but you look at the fans, their hats and their visors being blown all over the place. One photographer had to go out there and track down some of their equipment. So the wind is picking up here in downtown Baltimore.
Turnover by the military academy, in that there were offsides in the clearing game. Can't let that happen.
We just had a look at Joe Alberici. Talking to Coach Alberici yesterday, I asked, are you talking about the Patriot League at all? He said, no, this is a one-game season for us, Army-Navy. Our focus is squarely on the midshipmen. We'll worry about the Patriot League on Sunday.
LaRusso gets tangled up. Both of these teams have already wrapped up spots in the Patriot League tournament. Most likely a one-bid tournament as we look ahead to the NCAA tournament. Probably just the winner of that postseason tournament will get the automatic qualifying bid. It's been a rough season for teams like Bucknell and Colgate, but they are still alive with wins last night. So now O'Leary.
O'Leary's got the short stick playing him. They're going to come back to O'Leary here for a shot, I would think.
Trying to shut him off. See Gephardt goes with them. So now they play a two-man game.
Short stick trying to shut O'Leary off, but they're going to get O'Leary the ball.
Warner gets above goal line, extended on Henderson. Lennon does all he can to get a stick on the pass.
Sloppy play so far by the midfielders on exchange passes by Navy. That's a 5th or 6th one that's been hard to handle.
Davis loses Harrison for a moment. Great recovery check by Harrison out of Mountain Lakes, New Jersey. LaRusso can't make the catch. Unsettled opportunity for Navy. Davis in the open field. Davis puts on the brakes.
That's
and
when
retreats.
Navy looks to convert in that upset situation. They didn't get it done. Probably made a good decision. I don't think Pileski made a good one in throwing that over the top pass to Larry LaRusso that time. He was in too much traffic to make the catching pass.
So now Coach Meade will send out his second midfield line as Davis comes off, followed by Lennon.
That's 2 straight clearing opportunities now that Army has not cleared the ball. They're not going to win the game and continue to do that.
Capron looking for the inside roll. Good one-on-one defense by Army. Doyle moves it over. Here's Moran. Moran's chomping at the bit here in the third quarter. He had one taken away by the pipe. Tough pass, but he finds O'Leary. Another shot got blocked. That one hurt. Gephardt limping, but he'll take it now. 46 got stung by that shot around the ankles. O'Leary, good check again. Harrison having a couple of good sets here. Now the bodies hit the floor. They're picking up the intensity at the Smart Link Day of Rivals. In the middle of the field, it's Henderson. Henderson now left alone. He gets rid of it. Tough catch there. Good defense by Moran. Now a whistle.
What was that all about?
I am not sure what that call was about.
At first, I thought it may have been a timeout was called. But it couldn't have been because Army really never had possession. Navy, of course, cannot call timeout when they're not in possession of the ball.
That was a little confusing.
So as we mentioned, Gephardt right there on the shot. Yeah, kick saves aren't for the midfielders there, are they, Mark?
And I know we're not keeping a stat, but if you kept a stat of shots knocked down, passes knocked down, Army must have at least 10 or maybe a dozen of those, and they've done a great job of getting their bodies in the lanes of the Navy shooters and feeders.
More a hockey strategy. You see hockey defensemen hit the ice to block the shots. Here in lacrosse, you just sort of give up your body.
I'm still trying to figure out what that whistle was for. It's not a penalty. It wasn't a time violation.
Might have been an inadvertent whistle.
I think it was, yep.
Thule gets a step now, is guarded by Gallagher, the short stick. Thule looking for the inside roll.
Army really likes that matchup. Thule, they're going to go back to Thule against Navy's number 26, Marty Gallagher, who's their best short stick midi, by the way.
So he draws the slide, but Seymour can't make the catch. O'Sullivan there for the ground ball for Army.
They'll get out of that matchup on Thule, which they do.
Now he finds Vernum. Now Boltus. Hirsch all over him. Good D by Hirsch. Quick double from Brosnan. Quick ball movement. Oates again. Now it's Navy's turn to block a shot, as Lawson took that one off the body.
Good ball movement by the Military Academy that time to get the shot by Tyler Oates.
The wind is definitely picking up here in Baltimore. Our notes are flying now, so
I think Tyler Oates was looking at Matty Strebel's halftime demonstration on shooting. He does it just like Matt taught him to do it.
This is Sullivan being guarded by the short stick. Seavold. Now LaRusso. Saw the slide coming. Backs up. Maybe wanted a ward call.
Army with a nice long possession. It seemed like they were playing defense for 4 or 5 minutes. Now they've had a nice long possession and give their defense a chance to rest and catch their breath and rub the bruises from knocking down all those shots.
Still looking for its first goal of the third quarter. Thule getting whacked by Vernum.
Vernum playing very good defense on Thule.
Tough pass with them there to pick it off. Here is his game. Out in the middle of the field. Errant pass. Who's going to come up with it in the middle of the field? Flag down on Army. We're going to have a slash on Tyler Oates.
Slash call, and because the ball hits the ground, kills the play. R.J. Wickham, beautiful play. Looks like that was stick on stick. May have gotten the Army player on an uncontrolled swing.
Men's college lacrosse action on ESPNU continues tonight. First at 6:30 Eastern. Number 4 Maryland takes on number 16 Johns Hopkins in the second game of the Smart Link Day of Rivals. Then at 8:30 Eastern, number 5 Duke faces number 1 Virginia. Men's college lacrosse on ESPNU and ESPNU HD. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com.
Army still looking for their first goal here the second half, and Navy in a great extra man situation.
From Moran or Warner. Time and room. Now Warner steps down, gets rid of it.
Army again shutting off Patrick Moran on the crease.
Now Warner tried to line that shot up. Must have gotten checked because it certainly lost some speed as it got to Pileski.
You know, that's good strategy on Army's part because Patrick Moran has scored 7 goals for the Naval Academy in extra man offense. So they're just saying, all right, somebody else do it.
Do you think maybe Moran should take the shorty out to midfield as opposed to being on the crease?
Sullivan with time and room. Pileski there.
That's a good point, Mark. I think if they did that, that would open up that crease area. They'd be able to get the ball inside against a 4-man defensive package. So right now they're helping Army by keeping him in the crease.
Fool about to get doubled. Splits it. Holds on to the ball.
Well, he's a big, strong kid for a freshman Fool. He's pretty impressive. He's only going to get better.
6'4", 225 out of Flemington, New Jersey. Hunterdon Central High School. Same high school that's produced Rutgers All-American nominee Justin Pennington. Central New Jersey.
See them tomorrow. Rutgers Syracuse on ESPNU.
Feed inside. A lot of sticks for Navy. Knocking that one down.
Devin Lynch would have been better off taking the shot there. He was looking for the feed first. He beat his man with his speed, but didn't take advantage of his speed to get the shot.
This has been a quick third quarter. Just 1 goal. Army had a 5-3 lead at the half. Has not been in sync on the offensive end in the third. Now Maizano with a step. Good trail check there by Gallagher, number 26. Marty Gallagher, the junior, out of the Harvard School in Philadelphia.
Good defense. Attack, or the midfielder gets a step. Gallagher that time. Great check.
Full on the inside roll on Burnham. Goes up top on the dive shot to beat Wickham. Once again on the restart. Fool with one thought in mind, and he won the battle on Burnham in that one.
I am so impressed with Thule. He was backing in earlier with his right hand, and here he gets an inside roll with his left hand and dives to the crease to improve his shooting angle, just the way you teach it. Fantastic move.
Not only was it athletic, coach, but that was smart. He knew he can't, the dive rule, he dove across the face of the crease as opposed to into the crease, stayed out until that ball got into the back of the net. Beautiful shot by Garrett Thule.
2 goals and assist for 3 points. He now has 9 points in his last 3 ball games. One of the reasons why Army's been able to turn its season around after a rough start has been the play of that freshman.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of bruises being incurred on the face-off. There's some heavy checking going on. It's a real man's game out there today in the face-off circle.
Richie Meade said if this one turns into a street fight, I like my guys, but he said it's going to be a lacrosse game and not a street fight. He said there'll be plenty of chances to hit somebody.
And the great thing about Army-Navy is these guys will go at it toe-to-toe, fist-to-fist, and after the they become, again, brothers in arms, and we'll see that with the singing of the respective alma maters.
Well, there's great respect for each other's institution, no doubt about it. But on game day, they're going to play with everything they've got.
Taylor Cook with a full head of steam. Good recovery defense. Now Capron. Harrison on him. Back to his right. Capron shoots. Pileski got just enough, couldn't find it, so it ends up in the stick of O'Leary.
O'Leary against the short stick. He got one earlier. Army better slide early here. O'Leary decides to pass.
And it goes all the way in to the Army zone. Here we go, 2-on-1 opportunity. Boltus is going to keep it. Shot blocked by Navy. A missed opportunity for Army. Good defense by Navy. You're not going to end up with too many 2-on-1s.
He had a decision to make, and he could have gone either way. That was a great shot opportunity. He could have dumped it to Thule. Didn't make the shot.
Just over 1 minute to play in the third quarter of the second annual Smart Link Day at Rivals. Henderson loses his man on the fake. But a good job by Navy to get back in the hole, 6-on-6. So now 21 will come off to get another midfielder on the field.
They play that substitution game.
And now they're both going to get called. They started getting chippy around midfield. Henderson and Doyle, 2 flags down.
This will be a situation where they just give the ball back to the Army, I believe, because Army had possession here. Each player was getting a little chippy running to the midfield line in the sub-game situation. I think it's probably better off with no call. I don't see why you need to stop the game here.
So what we're going to have is unsportsmanlike conduct on both of these players. We see Richie Meade giving some counsel to Kevin Doyle. And, Coach, you're right. Army was in possession. Simultaneous fouls will both go in together. They'll serve together full time, and Army will retain possession.
It looks like it's going to be 5-on-5 now. And in a 5-on-5 situation, Mark, it always opens it up a little offensively, particularly in the crease area, because you've got one less guy that's falling down in the crease. We'll see what happens here in this 5-on-5 situation.
So it starts with Oates, and he loses it. Brosnan with the takeaway. Oates hits the ground. Brosnan had it momentarily, tries to scooch it to Wickham. Wickham way out of his cage, met by 3 Black Knights, and he'll draw a flag. So Navy will go to work on the extra man. Oates can't believe that one drew a flag.
Illegal body check. From where I was sitting, it looked like R.J. Wickham got it right across the head. And there it is right there. The arms came up, Coach. Got to go through the chest. Toughest call in lacrosse, really, as an official, in my opinion.
Well, when you get those arms extended, bad things are going to happen. You just don't see anymore that kid driving the shoulder through the chest of the opponent. The arms are always extended, and it was probably a good call. But you talk about a street fight, we're in one now, and it's going to be 5-on-4 here, which is an unusual situation. Yet the previous penalty was 5-on-5. Now you got another penalty on Army, 5-on-4.
Spoken like a true coach too, Eamon. Probably a good call.
So with 31 seconds left in the quarter, Navy will be a man up.
And we get a good look at R.J. Wickham. Struggled in the first half, but he's done a nice job here in the second.
Jack, 5-on-4. You only have 4 defenders out there. What's the strategy for the Army defense, and then conversely
well,
the Navy
I can't see Army now shutting off Patrick Moran like they were earlier, because they were shutting off Patrick and they were in a 2-2 box. Now they can't shut off because they only got 3 guys left. So they're going to have to play their 2-2 box, and I look for Patrick Moran to get a shot opportunity here, number 13.
And smart by Navy to avoid the shutoff. They start the ball with Moran.
Again, 7 extra man goals for number 13. He's at the top of the box. He has it now. This is Sullivan. Now Moran. See the debris flying all over the place. The skip pass to Sullivan.
10 seconds.
Back to Moran. Moran steps in. Time and room. Pileski with the kick save.
Army, keep the ball.
The ground ball.
Keep the ball, Army, and you retain possession.
And you see that save brought the Cadets to life on the sideline. His 6th of the game. Welcome back to the SmartLink Day of Rivals from downtown Baltimore, M&T Bank Stadium. The 88th meeting between Army and Navy. And to recap it so far, let's take a look at our Warrior Lacrosse game track. Pretty much what we expected. Right now, that big number, that 4 spot in the second quarter for the Black Knights.
And I think Boltus and Thule have been stand-up players for Army today. They've led the parade. Here you have a clearing situation because Army retained possession during the man-down penalty, and Navy is double-teaming the ball, aiming good strategy on Coach Meade's part.
And 2 Army players in the box. This is Butler. Butler gets a step. O'Leary trails him. They meet him. Great job by Butler to avoid the double team. He gets it in the box. Watch out, here comes Striffler. So now he will try to run as much time off that clock, penalty clock, as possible. And he gets swarmed there and loses it to Ian Crumley. So Navy gets it back.
Well, all that work Brandon Butler did to clear it, but nobody broke open to give him an opportunity to pass it.
Up top. This is Striffler.
Looks like we're all even now, Eamon. 6-on-6.
Navy, with that stop by Pileski at the end of the third, cannot take advantage of the 5-on-4 opportunity. And Navy has dominated this series of late. Joe Alvarese in his 5 years, 1 win over Richie Meade. Richie Meade 14-3 career against Army. This is Nick Davis with the ball. Sees the slide coming, still has it feet up top. Moran, full sprint, off the mark there.
They have worked hard to get the ball to Patrick Moran like we thought they would. Patrick's curling off the crease. They're throwing it to him at the top of the formation, and he's getting a running shot at the goal. But Patrick is a little bit better standstill shooter, like in the extra man situation, than he is when he's running with the ball.
Two-time first-team All-Patriot League player. Now they get it up top to Davis. Take a run at the short stick, go to his left. Davis gets a step. The lefty shot just a bit wide.
He's such a weapon. When he gets a full head of steam like that, very difficult to stop. We saw him a little bit in the second quarter and third quarter, dancing somewhat. He has just got to go hard to the cage.
He's got that kind of quickness to get that shot off.
Warner feet up top. Here's Moran with time and room. Again, just off the mark. That one hit the pipe again. It's been a frustrating afternoon in Baltimore for number 13, a couple of pipes.
And you can see Moran picking up the ball to restart play, just slamming the head of his stick into the turf. The bounce is just not going the way of Navy right now.
Navy 0 for its last 9 shots. Davis, swim move back to his right now. Good defense there by Hurley.
If Patrick Moran continues to get those shots off that little curl play, he's going to sink one of them. It's been a very nice adjustment by Coach Meade at halftime to get Moran the ball, and he's had 3 terrific looks at the goal.
So now Moran's going to take a run at Gephardt from his left. He splits the double, the strength. Skips past Pileski, got just enough.
Looks like the Army defenders on that sequence took stick and not body.
Well, you know, they continue to play Patrick Moran with number 46, Gebhardt, a short stick. And if you're going to do that, you better slide to him quickly and take body. You can't be split.
Lennon with the skip pass to O'Leary. Inside to Moran, righty shot. He is getting frustrated. You saw him on the last shot. Grab his head there. He was ready to slam the turf with his stick. He wants to bury one in the worst way right now.
Army took body on that last one. Dumped Moran on his backside.
And to Navy's credit, they've gotten 5 or 6 shots in this sequence.
This time they lose it. Good double by Henderson. Now Henderson has it in his stick. He still has it in the open field. Thought about shooting it. Now he'll retreat and get it to an offensive player.
Well, smart play, too, because Army's just been playing defense for about 2 minutes. Get the ball, settle it down, 2-goal advantage. Smart lacrosse, fundamental lacrosse. Get your personnel on and see if you can add to your 2-goal advantage.
Jack, you see R.J. Wickham hanging in the shadows there. There's still some sunlight left. Will that play a role on him and how he sees a shot from the midfield and the sun coming into the shadows?
Yeah, I think it will. He's in the shade, but the ball's coming out of the sun. Pileski's totally in the sun. It's that'd be a little difficult to call, but that change in contrast, I think, would be hard to pick up the ball.
So here's Thule now. Army, as Mark mentioned, probably won't be in a rush here. 2-goal lead, 11 minutes left in the fourth. Looking to improve to 6-5 on the season. More importantly, go 1-0 over Navy in 2010.
A long possession is just what the doctor ordered here for Army right now.
Here's McCallion. Gallagher on him. Episcopal against Al Haverford, an old Interact rivalry. Shot there by Lynch. Didn't have a lot of mustard on it thanks to a good check by Navy, and Wickham makes the save.
Good ride by Seymour to get the ball on the ground.
And he gets it back.
What's so impressive to me in those situations is these competitive athletes on both sides, Army and Navy, when they make a mistake, when there's a turnover, there's no momentary hanging of the head. They get right into the ride, get the ball back, and that's exactly what Seymour did.
Cool. Man, he is a big, strong freshman, and ESPNU's coverage of college lacrosse continues Sunday with Big East action as #2 Syracuse takes on Rutgers. Old Spice Lacrosse on ESPNU and ESPNU HD Sunday at 6 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. And Mark, you know the former Scarlet Knight All-American defenseman Jack Emmer's going to be watching that one.
No question. John Galloway, the leader of that stingy Syracuse defense.
Thule now gets robbed by the crossbar, and what a win for Syracuse Tuesday night up in Cornell. Chris Daniello scoring the game winner as time expired. A great game by the Big Red.
Take a look at this on replay. Thule gets inside again. R.J. Wickham thinks the ball's by him, but that big 2-inch pipe makes the save.
So now Navy needs a clear and then a goal. Down by 2, under 10 minutes to play. Navy's been scoreless for almost 17 minutes here in this one.
Big possession for the midshipmen. 5-6 good looks on cage last time down. That kind of stuff is all for naught. You got to hit the back of the net and get this to a 1-goal game.
Here's Moran again, another shot blocked.
Moran being the outstanding player he is. He's stepping up in crunch time. He's getting his shots. We didn't think he had a shot at halftime. He's had 5 or 6 here in the second half.
Leary gets it to Warner.
They're reluctant to go with Billy Henderson. Whoever he's playing, they give it up right away. Number 5, Bill Henderson.
Now Davis draws the slide. And this time Moran will not be able to get a shot off. Tipped, though, by the Army defense, so Navy will hold on.
Well, the combination of the Army defense throwing their body in front of the ball, and Pileski's made a cut. He hasn't made many, but he's made key saves. And in a game like this, with the score the way it is, goals coming at a premium, those one-off saves can really be the difference.
This is a great defensive game. I know most folks would rather see 15-14, but at 6-4, there's been some great defense played here. Here comes Patrick Moran again. A little bit of help from Army.
LaRusso, great check there. Takes it away. Larry LaRusso. And you see the frustration continue to mount for number 13, Patrick Moran.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Eamon. We saw the graphic. 0 for 11, now 0 for 12 on their last dozen shots are the midshipmen. And after a while, you just feel like you're banging a head against the wall.
15 turnovers now for Navy in this one.
Now, interesting strategy for Army in that they've played Patrick Moran with the short stick, but have slid the long stick to him early.
Lawson just levels the freshman there on the pick as the street fight mentality continues. Here is Lynch. Under 8 minutes to play here at the Smart Link Day of Rivals, downtown Baltimore. On Memorial Day, this is where a champion will be crowned. To these players, this is almost as big a deal as that. Army-Navy for the 88th time. Maizano with a step, shoots off the mark.
One thing we have not come to fruition is the athleticism of the Navy midfield. And I think you've got to give a lot of credit to the defensive midfield of Army, in particular Tim Henderson. When Navy's had any opportunity to get in transition, Henderson has gotten back into the hole, or he's played the ball and made life very difficult for Navy's clearing game.
And the short sticks, Gebhardt and Brandon Butler have done a good job. You would have thought Navy had a little bit of an edge there athletically. You're right, Mark.
Now Boltus, Hirsch looking to take away, and he does. Puts it on the floor, no one knew it. Now Hirsch goes and gets it. Great defense by Michael Hirsch, the junior out of Pennsylvania.
That was great defense. You don't see Jeremy Boltus getting the ball stripped too often.
Now up ahead to Gallagher. Gallagher gets it in the box. Navy approaching 20 minutes without a goal.
Well, this could be a long 6:44 as both teams have their full bank of timeouts. 2-goal game. This is going to be some great lacrosse.
Lennon with time and room. High to high. He beats Pileski, and the drought is over for Navy.
That is a big goal to get Navy back in the game momentum-wise. And sometimes you just have to shake the shooter's hand. Here's a shot from 12 or 13 yards, high with his left hand. Let's see if Pileski gets a good look at this one.
And talk about teamwork. Nice pick, disrupts the Army defense, and that's leadership. This is a senior who has been handcuffed all day, shut off. Bill Henderson shadowed him. When he got his opportunity, he made it count. He pulls the midshipman back to within one. Great shot by Joe Lennon.
This is going to be a battle, fellas. We got 6.5 minutes to play. Navy on the face-off. This is going to be a battle.
Joe, the fourth Lennon to go to Annapolis, follows his brothers Clipper, Bobby, and Billy. Now has a point in 15 straight games.
Pileski's going to need to come up big here in these last 6 minutes of this game and make some saves.
So the first quarter, Navy took a while to get going and then scored 2 quick ones. They would love to see that trend emerge again here in the fourth as we approach the 6-minute mark. Davis is going to line up Butler. Saw Henderson coming. Now Lennon again. Lennon back to his right. Loses his footing. Draws the slide. Lennon looking to get his hands free. Moves it over to Moran. Moran shoots well off the mark.
Patrick Moran dropping his hands there. Really should have shot the ball overhand. Lost accuracy and dropping ahead of his stick.
Definitely going to be dodging from the midfield. Actually, they got Tim Henderson on the field. Henderson was off of the field for that play. Army gets him back on.
So now Davis going hard to the cage, and he sneaks it past Pileski with 5:35 to play. We're all even at 6.
Momentum with the Naval Academy right now. Army needs to win a face-off.
Second goal of the afternoon for Nick Davis. We talk about his quickness. We talked about his speed. Just a simple dodge down the alley, gets a step on his man, and this is toughness right here. He knows the slide is coming. He keeps his composure, puts a stick in his right hand, and takes a shot after he scores the goal. Great individual effort by Nick Davis.
Army was looking to get earlier help from a perimeter player that time, not off the crease, got there too late, too good of a shot to give to Nick Davis.
So after going 19 minutes and 44 seconds without a goal, they go back-to-back in 1 minute and 2 seconds to even this up at 6. Both of these teams have played 4 overtime games. Both are 2-2. Are we headed to bonus lacrosse here in Baltimore? Henderson with the key pickup off the wing with 5.5 to play and counting. Now Army can't exactly be as patient on the offensive end.
Big face-off win, however, for Army that time. They need possession of the ball. Navy's playing tougher perimeter defense, not allowing the ball to be moved around the horn like they did earlier.
Here is Sullivan. O'Sullivan, excuse me. Now Connor Hayes backs up Striffler. He's going to work a 2-man game.
The Army likes this matchup with Connor Hayes. They like his quickness. They think he can get to the goal here. Maybe with a quick slide.
Lawson there. Lawson, a man basically playing without an ACL, had surgery in January.
When you talk about this Navy defense, a senior, a junior, and a sophomore, but they're very young. Hirsch missed last year with a knee injury, Lawson the knee injury, and Burnham only a second-year player.
Now step down, Baltus with an opportunity. Time, room, he takes advantage.
Not sure what happened there, Coach, but you can't lose number 2, especially that close to the goal.
Well, the advantage Army got, and they did a great job of it. You'll see it right here. Short stick against the short stick. They created the long stick slide. They covered to the middle, left Baltus open. And what a great job by Connor Hayes, and a fine shot by Jeremy Bolus for his 3rd goal of the game from that assist player we keep talking about.
122 career points for Jeremy Baltus, now 19th all-time in West Point lacrosse history. So now Navy needs to come up with a ground ball. Squirts out. Who's going to come up with it? It's Army. Alex Gephardt, the captain. Did Alvarisi get the timeout? He did. The 88th star game in lacrosse, and Army leads Navy 7-6 with 4:15 to play. Now let's take a look at our teamwork breakdown, brought to you by the U.S. Marines.
Jeremy Baltus to Garrett Thule. Being a good teammate is about putting your teammate in a good situation to be successful. Beautiful feed. And Coach, how about Garrett Thule with the finish?
How about that? It looked like he could have gone with his left hand and shot it lefty, elected to go over the shoulder. R.J. Wickham didn't see it. Great play by Boltus and Thule, as they've done all game.
All right, Coach, 4:15 left. Joe Alberici takes the timeout to make sure they hold on to possession. Now what's the strategy with the ball in a 1-goal lead?
I think you're going to see Joe go after the short stick for the Naval Academy, which he's done lately. He's going to get the ball against the short stick, try to get a little pick behind, and draw that slide like they did when Boltus just scored that last goal. Got a little pick coming right now, and they will continually get the ball to whoever the short stick is playing.
You see Hurst trying to shut off Boltus. Now Lynch has a step, double, and loses it. Flag, whistle.
Timeout, Army.
Did not like the way that was shaping up, so he got the timeout call before the double and the takeaway with 3:45 to play. Now he's out of timeouts, but still has the lead.
I'm a little surprised he called a timeout there and didn't keep it for the last minute of the game, but he saw Devin Lynch go into the goal, the slide coming on Devin, and he elected to call a timeout, and the ball virtually was on the ground when he made that call. So it was good strategy on his part.
So you take a look at the Army helmets there. You see the sticker that they're wearing on the back right above the Army.
That is for the Dennis Stewart Foundation, the Finish Hard Foundation. Dennis Stewart, an assistant coach at Denison University, Ohio State. This past September, Coach Emmer, Dennis suffered a massive stroke. He's instrumental in high school lacrosse in the state of Virginia and the foundation to raise money for Dennis's cause, but also to raise awareness on stroke prevention.
Dennis was a lifetime commitment to the game of lacrosse, and couldn't be a better foundation.
Now let's take a look at Navy in their pregame shirts. Take a look at some of the mids in the crowd there. These are their pregame shirts in reference to SEAL Team 10, in particular Operation Red Wing. In June 2005, SEAL Team 10 was assigned to a mission in Afghanistan, and the SEAL team was made up of Marcus Luttrell, Michael Murphy, Danny Dietz, and Matthew Axelson. 3 goat herders stumbled upon the hiding spot of the SEALs. It was decided to let the Afghans go, and within an hour the SEALs were engaged in a firefight. The battle was later called the worst single-day loss of life for naval special warfare personnel since World War II. Luttrell was the only survivor of the SEAL team, and he was finally rescued 6 days after that battle. So that's what the shirt they were wearing was in honor of in their pregame warm-up. Richie Meade, of course, so much respect for the tradition and history of the Naval Academy and West Point.
Army's back into 2 middies behind. This is the first time we've seen 2 short sticks behind him. And they get the stall warning, so they got to keep it in the box now, which puts you under a little extra pressure.
So Maizano sends it up top. Thule cranks one. Wickham there for that one. A key save by R.J. Wickham in the race. Gallagher lays out.
Navy gets the ball.
And he did enough. What hustle by Gallagher.
If you take a look at this, this is tremendous hustle on the part of both teams. A great save by Wickham and a race to the end line. Both players diving to the sideline as the ball goes out of bounds.
One thing you need to remember as we get a good look at this outstanding hustle. Look at them both sell out. It's where the bodies are. You see the players extend their stick, but the rules of lacrosse, it's not equipment, it's bodies. And I guess, Coach, in that situation, maybe a fingernail of the Navy midshipman was closer to the ball.
I tell you, this is the kind of effort you expect from the young men that are at our service academies. Do you want these guys defending your country when they graduate from the military and naval academy? You bet you do. Tremendous execution of competition right there.
And we got to squeeze the double. Okay, we can't force them off. We got to squeeze them into each other, and then we jam them.
Our SmartLink player of the game is Army's Jeremy Boltus. Number 2, doing it many different ways. 3 goals.
Jeremy and Thule have had great days, and Jeremy's had the capacity today to finish. That was one you saw, and there's another one, both up in the corner for his 3rd goal.
So right now, if this is how it ends, he would have the game winner After Navy was able to score 2 goals in just over a minute to make it 6-6, he stopped the run and put Army back on top. But 3 minutes and 3 seconds, an eternity in the sport of lacrosse.
It certainly is. The Naval Academy is going to be in a clearing situation right now. Puts a lot of pressure on your clearing team. Army with an opportunity to ride. I think Army will make Navy at least throw the ball across the field one time.
So after all that, I guess we misread the official, because it looks like the ball's going back to Army.
Official pointed in the other direction, so how are we to know?
That's happened to us a couple of times. Our officials, Tom Sutton, Jimmy O'Hara, and Tom Brannick. So now they're going to have to double the ball, as you see Navy come out with 3 minutes, Wickham out of the cage, and they come up with the turnover. So Richie Meade goes to work during the timeout, and his players execute.
Navy's been terrific with respect to taking the ball away. Hirsch has made a couple of takeaway checks. Now you've got the midfield. One timeout in the back pocket of Richie Meade. We'll see what Navy elects to do.
Jack, when do you take it?
Well, I think you first got to see what your matchups look like here at the offensive end of the field. Don't be too quick to call a timeout. Let's see what you can get going. I got to give Coach Meade a lot of credit. With over 3 minutes to go, or about 3 minutes to go, he double-teamed the ball and executed that perfectly to get it back. We're almost at the 2-minute mark now, so the pressure is on for the Navals to come up with a goal.
Coming up next, Sports Center U, then we're right back to downtown Baltimore with Johns Hopkins and Maryland, the oldest rivalry in college lacrosse. Hopkins in desperate need for a win. Now Moran, he's had a rough day. Will he be able to let one go? He gives it up to Lennon. Lennon getting his hands free to the left, well off the mark.
Joe Lennon not afraid to go to either hand. He'll take what Army will give him, and that time they gave him the left side of the field.
So now O'Leary quickly to a full head of steam, looking for that inside roll, but LaRusso's there. 1:35 and counting. They go back to the short stick on Moran. Now basically playing 5-on-5 lacrosse as Moran clears out. Here's a shot. Pileski gets just enough. Now he sprints and lays out, and he wins the run to the end line, and he is fired up. 83 seconds away from a possible victory over Navy. Richie Meade's going to take another timeout. This is the second annual Smart Link Day of Rivals from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. The 88th meeting between Navy and Army. Eamon McEnany, along with the Hall of Famer Jack Emmer and the former Johns Hopkins midfielder Mark Dixon. Navy has dominated this rivalry of late, but right now, Army with the ball.
Here we see Joe Lennon getting inside, and that's a great check by Henderson to disrupt the shooting rhythm. And Tom Pileski, Coach Emmer, using all 6'5" to get to that end line.
Not only is Pileski fired up, but I'm fired up just watching the effort of these players on the field. Fantastic.
As we've mentioned, both teams have played 4 overtime games. They are not strangers to 1-goal games, 5 apiece, the exact same record. And, you know, seeing all these stats that come up the exact same, one Patriot League coach told me this week, how can you tell them apart? They're the exact same teams.
Is it any surprise that this is a 1-goal game? I don't think so. But right now, you've got Army in a clearing situation, somewhat of an Achilles heel for their program this year. They've cleared it 75% of the time, whereas Navy's cleared it 87% of the time. That's a big difference in number of turnovers. So Army is going to have to clear the ball. Will they get it to a short stick? I think they probably will use a short stick to help clear in this particular situation.
As we take a look at the Patriot League standings, both of these teams are guaranteed a spot in the conference tournament for the AQ. Lafayette, the surprise team, and then Bucknell and Colgate fighting it out for that 4th and final spot.
And the number 1 seed gets that tournament at home. Coach, you played in that in the tournament. How important is it to be the number 1 seed and have that in your own backyard?
Well, the home field's tremendous. The home field is tremendous. A big advantage. But you know what? They could care less right now about the home seed. This is Army-Navy. This is about beating Navy. This is about beating Army.
Jack Emmer involved in 23 Army-Navy games. Coming up next, Sports Center U, and then right back here to M&T Bank for the Terps and the Blue Jays.
No timeouts for Army.
Great D there by Gallagher. So they come up with the turnover. So, Jack, you mentioned that's been an Achilles heel all year, and without a timeout, Navy was able to force him into a tough spot. So now, just over a minute left. 17 turnovers on the ball game for Army. Will number 17 prove to be costly? Hirsch to Striffler.
Inside a minute.
They go behind. How fitting would it be if Patrick Moran gets a look here? He's had a very frustrating second half. Here's Lennon coming on the field now. Davis has a goal in the second half. He has the ball. He's looking to make it again, and he does with the flag. Nick Davis, individual effort.
No goal.
Now they're wiping it out.
No goal.
A late call there.
The official on this side of the field, I think that's Jimmy O'Hara, is waving the goal off. However, the flag has been thrown, which means there was a push before the goal was scored, and you're probably going to find Army a man down and the goal no good.
Richie Meade doesn't know yet that it's not a goal as the trainers are out to take a look at Davis. Richie Meade's about to find out that his team is still down by a goal.
Now, you could also have a dive into the goal, which would negate the goal. But as I read the officials here, it looks like there's a push call that Navy is going to be extra man in this one-goal game.
Well, look at Davis. That's a push. That's denoted by the flag down. You can see clearly Davis's feet are not in the crease. So flag down typically denotes that he was pushed and forced into the crease. It's tough unless he hit inside the crease before the ball was in net, which it doesn't look like. And it's great to see Nick Davis up because he took a massive hit.
I would say, looking at the replay, it looks like the goal should have counted.
I would agree with you 100%, Coach.
It looks like the ball went in the goal before he was in the crease.
So Lennon having trouble with it, gets it back with 25 seconds. Connors, inside feed, shot opportunity. Pileski with the big save with 15 seconds left, but Warner comes up with it. Cross cage feed. Connors can't make the catch, and it goes out of bounds.
Deflected
they
by
call
Army.
a deflection on Army, so Navy will have another chance with 9 seconds left. But right now, Pileski with a huge save.
Mark that one down. We talked about it throughout the whole game. That one save could be the difference.
We talked about him coming up big. He came up big there.
Now Lennon, skip pass, shot here, got hit again. What a fitting way for this ball game to end. A blocked shot, and Army has held on to knock off Navy in the Star game. 7-6, the Black Knights are the winners.
What a ball game. You know, people complain about 7-6 games, but this one had a little bit of everything.
Lots of emotion, passion, drama, and now we have the excitement of the Army Black Knights victorious over Navy.
And we also have a little bit of controversy. You guys both felt that Davis's goal probably should have counted. Joe Alberici is certainly happy that it didn't, but let's take a look.
You could see the push, flag down. That makes sense.
Now, is the official calling diving in the crease? I don't think he can because he got pushed in the crease.
Well, you wouldn't, if it was a dive, you wouldn't have the flag down. So that's one that I'm sure we'll be talking about for quite some time.
Richie Meade will certainly be thinking about that for a long time.